Hey yo, I just got done running and I was thinking about something. I want to try to make a video about it before I clean up. But if we were to define like the levels of talented striking, how would we do that? Like oftentimes when we're as fans in the comments of a post or something and we're talking about like elite strikers, and then there's good strikers, and then there's others, and you can see people throw out names that fit. It makes sense to us, but like, how do we really define those levels? And I was kind of doing that as I was running my 5K. I was kind of thinking about, well, what defines it? So as I go through this, feel free to comment. I love comments. If you look at my videos where I get comments, I usually comment back. I love having conversations with people and exchanging ideas and debating topics or whatever. That's how we create discovery and innovation. So if we were to say, what is the best version of a striker? How would we define that? I think the way we would want to define that is the best version of a striker would be someone who has an opponent that is actively trying to damage them and can damage that opponent and then escape their damage unscathed. So that's kind of a long-winded statement. I'm going to try to explain that with an example. You can see other levels of strikers, such as like when someone's in a fight, when one fighter is way above the other in striking, sometimes they don't get very close. And you'll see this on the regional scene a lot, or in the lower prelims and stuff. But like, that guy will use his range and he'll just be pinging jabs and choosing his shots. And it's like the other guy is hesitant to engage. He won't go in and create chaos to fight in. And a lot of times in the regional scene and stuff, it has a lot to do with range. Like, they haven't figured out how to overcome range. But that would be like one level of good striking. You can stand there and pick someone apart. And as long as they don't come in on you, it's no problem. And when you started the fight where you're landing jabs pretty early and they haven't landed something, you kind of take control of the fight. That's an early level of striking. But that level then changes a whole bunch when that opponent will then charge in. Hold on, my dog wants out. Big Cody, you want to go outside, don't you? All right. So then when their opponent comes in on them and gets where, like, say that striker that's doing really well is long armed, and all of a sudden the opponent isn't at the end of their reach anymore. They're like right here and you can't really move your arms like you're used to. You need a whole nother level of talent. You need ideas to get out of there or be effective in there. Now, examples of strikers that will go in there and, how do I explain this? So Justin Gaethje is a good example of someone who is willing to go in and get chaotic, and he doesn't take a lot of hits. That guy, let me think of that guy. The guy he just beat with the odd name, it's like a complex name. The guy he fought right before Max that called out Hasbulla or whatever. It starts with an F. I keep wanting to say Figurino, but it's not him. It's that guy with the beard. Anyways, that guy will go in and create chaos on people a lot. Merab will go in and create chaos on people a lot. But they take damage when they're in there in that chaos. And they're willing to accept that because it's better to take damage and give damage than it is to be on the outside and just keep taking damage and not inflict any damage. So like those names I named are kind of like someone who's good at going in and will take damage. But to be the best version of a striker, you can be in those moments, avoid the damage and still inflict damage. And that's where I'd put someone like Max Holloway. You know, we saw Max and Justin fight. We saw Max at the beginning, through most of the fight, he was keeping Justin on his range. Max is so good, Max can step in. There at the end, they do exactly what I'm talking about. They're both in there swinging, and Max is avoiding damage while inflicting damage, completely knocks Justin out, and then walks away unscathed. Max is someone who's really good at that. Back in the day, Conor was pretty good at that. Conor and Max had fought. Conor and Dustin had fought. I think Dustin is at the upper level of the fighters that will go in and do that, but he still takes damage a lot when he's in there. Anderson Silva was a really, really good example of someone who could go in there. And a lot of people knock Anderson Silva and say he's showing off or taunting. Think about what he's doing in those moments. His opponents are swinging and trying to do as much damage as they can, and he's completely avoiding all the damage, landing damage, and then exiting the moment. That is the absolute epitome of striking. Floyd Mayweather is another great example. Instead of standing in there and just exchanging blow for blow for blow, Floyd would slip 6 to 8 shots, land 1 or 2, and get away. It's the art of hitting without getting hit would be the best version of striking. So I would say Topuria is getting really, really good at this. Anderson Silva was one of the greats of this. Max Holloway is really good at this. I would put Calvin Kattar above Dustin Poirier in a striking level. But it's hard to view that when we see Calvin get put against Max, because Max is even better than Calvin. But that's sort of how I would rank sort of strikers. I felt like I was going to name a whole bunch of people. If I were to define Sean O'Malley, I would say Sean O'Malley is really, really good at the range. Sean is so good at keeping his range. People get frustrated trying to come in and create the chaos. But if they will commit to that chaos, they actually do really well. Cheeto did really well in I think it was round 4, where he came in and he started landing a bunch of shots on O'Malley. He would take a couple going in sometimes, but O'Malley would freeze up when he's inside on that moment. And that's something I think Topuria would be really, really good at in exposing in O'Malley. Israel Adesanya is really, really good at being in the moment and slipping and everything. He got caught by Alex, but other than that, in the most times, dude, Izzy is really, really good at avoiding damage and then inflicting damage. Some people want it to be this huge knockout damage, but when you're talking the overall of a fight and an elite striker, every moment, if you just have win, if you look at the moment as a win, the moment being when they can both strike each other, every moment that these strikers just keep winning and winning and win and win. If you look at it as like a 50-50 chance, it'd be like, well, I guess blackjack's not 50-50, but imagine going to the casino and you have 10 games in a row and you win all in a row. It's like you see how challenging that is when I put it in a relatable sense like that, or a more comparative sense. But these are kind of just some rambling thoughts. So I'm going to try to summarize it, make it make sense again. There's strikers that are an early good striker is good at keeping someone at bay, keeping someone away from inflicting damage to them. And they don't necessarily have to keep them at range. They can go in, throw a few shots and slip and bob and weave and move a lot. A lot of smaller fighters are really good at that. Kai Kara France is good at that when his opponent isn't just astronomically larger than him, which he's usually having to fight. Then you got the next level of that is those fighters that they can keep someone at bay. They can strike really good on range. They can slip in and out, but they can also avoid damage when their opponent gets inside on them. They know how to avoid the damage there and then inflict it. You have a lot of fighters who will get inside that moment and they're willing to bang and bang and bang, and they can take more damage. They'll take damage, but it seems like they can inflict a little more damage. It's kind of like a damage for damage thing. That's a really good level when it leads to effective things. Like Dustin Poirier has been very, very effective doing that. But then there's a level above that where you can escape those moments with no damage and land inflicting damage. And that's like the pinnacle of striking. That's like the absolute best version of striking, the art of hitting without getting hit. I hope that made sense. I just kind of wanted to get those ideas out. It was really exciting for me as I was running where I was thinking of that and how to word that. Feel free to like and subscribe. Concepts with Kimbler. Big time players make big time plays. We do big things every round. Drop a comment. Let me know what you think. If you got any questions or you disagree, whatever it is, let's go.